Let's see if this working. Woo! This is something of a test, so we'll see how this goes. I've got a load of gutter runners to make, so that is going to be what I do this evening, because I've got an event tomorrow. Let's post this. If you find this after the fact, apologies for the intro. Oh hey, we've got one fish. Yeah, I've got 24 gutter runners to get ready for tomorrow. I probably should have done something. Hey, and you gone. How you doing, love? This is probably the easiest way to get an update on my day. Yeah, I've got still got 24 gutter runners to build and paint for tomorrow, which is the impetus for sitting down and doing this. You can do whatever hobby you fancy. You're more than welcome to. You might struggle to do Warhammer as a hobby. You'd have a lack of stuff at your flat at the moment, I think. For the other 4 of you, that's my partner I'm talking to in chat. In case anyone's confused. Hand and feet, so massive it's hard to miss the details. You're goddamn right. They are an abomination. An abomination. But I'm not spending loads of money to get the fancy ones. Also, the Blood Bowl ones don't come with slings. I'm assuming the noise volume on opening stuff like that is pretty horrendous, so I'll try and keep that to a minimum. This is one of those projects that you start and go, I immediately regret leaving it to this point. I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable with this if I'd got them all built and I just had to spray and paint them. That'd be okay. Didn't do that though. Snip faster, yeah, I do need to. Just gotta clean the glue off these feet. My square base has arrived today, so I can whack them on there. Your wish is my command, more Robot Wars. Anyone else up to any hobby this evening? Obviously you're painting your sorceress. I assume Richie isn't, because Richie is a prepared man And he's going to have his entire army ready to go for tomorrow's event. Oh. Snip, snip. Scorpion flashbacks. You're at the event tomorrow, aren't you, Jack? Or am I making that up? Tom finished his just before Richie picked him up. Good man. That is why we got on so well. Oh yeah. You're in an event this weekend as well, aren't you? I need to ask your name, because I keep calling you more Robot Wars, which is fine. But the amount of times I've interacted with you now that I should probably just ask your actual name. How long do I think this will take? Probably longer than I'm going to stream. I think I will get a bulk of it done and then just sort of vibe a little bit later. But I reckon I've got a good couple of hours streaming in me. Depends how distracted I get by chat. It says didn't bring any paints with him. Yeah, I did see your message, by the way. I haven't packed the 9 ball boys you're borrowing yet, but they will be there. And worst case scenario, if I forget, I can rock up on home and pick them up. Callum with an L, lovely stuff. I'm terrible with names, so that is immediately going to go out my mind. But thank you for sharing that with me. Speaking of things that have immediately disappeared, I was fairly certain I'd built 10 of these little fuckers, or at least body and legs. Oh, I'm only seeing 8, 9 even. That's how maths works. Maybe there's one still in the bag. Oh, it's okay. There's one still in the bag that I chucked them in. Panic painting. Yeah. I mean, it's only 24 models, so I'm not too bothered. The painting isn't the bit I'm concerned about. It's the building of models that takes me longer. That's for sure. I really should have got my shit together a bit earlier. But most days I was busy, and then some days I couldn't be bothered. And now we're here. Couple of empty giant bases with yeah, no, that's a good suggestion. Bases with footprints. One of my favourite things is people's conversions for Orc Commandos, the 40k Commandos. Oh, we're back? No, we're back. Yeah, the 40k Commandos. Oh, that doesn't sound good. I thought I heard myself. Let me know if you hear any audio doubling, because I've got... Oh, yeah, that's what I've got. Let me just fix this up here. There we go. That should have fixed it. Using my phone as a second camera. It's not the best camera. It's, in fact, incredibly poor at the moment. Why are you being so crap? Let's see if we can fix that. Eh. You get the general gist. Yeah, Tauth stealth suits. Or anyone who 3D prints clear resin. Those are always... is this for tomorrow, you madman? Yeah, but James, it's only 1 unit of 24... Well, 2 units of 12 models. And they're the old gutter runners, so it doesn't really count. They're barely models. And I loathe them, so I don't feel bad about putting 0 effort in. Oh, well, 0 effort's wrong. Minimal effort. One of the nice things about a Rob event as well, because it starts at 10 o'clock, and I live... How long does it take me? If I get an Uber... Oh, no, legs. There's a second box, it's fine. That pair of legs has gone to the void. Yeah, because I live so close to Rob's venue, I can probably roll out of bed at about 9:30 and be there comfortably for a 10 o'clock start, so... If it needs to go that late, which I hope it doesn't, I could be up till like 3 and not feel any ill effects. But, yeah, we'll see. 5 parts per rat. Yeah, that's about right, I think. Oh god, I can hear a slight echo from my phone. I'm just going to see if I can fix that. I don't want any audio. How do I... Alright, I can't turn my phone audio down to nothing, so if I just think with portals, put the headphones on. Hopefully, that should do it. Yeah, there we go. Now we're connected. Test, test, test. That brief moment of panic where you look around and you can't see your knife after you've just moved. If I move, am I going to stab myself? No. Oh, good. I think the bit that might take the longest is the fucking bases. Although I think I picked up some texture paint for that. He said confidently. Right. One last little fix here. Let's see if I can... Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Woo! I just need to remember to charge those headphones, but that will have resolved my problem. Oh, the tail. God, I forgot about the tails. I actually might leave the tails off, because they look horrendous. Some of the worst fucking porky pigtails in existence. And giant mold lines, yeah. I will say, I think I prefer giant mold lines to, like, moderate mold lines. Because giant ones, in theory, are easier to get off. Or harder to miss. Maybe that's just cope, because I've got to fucking deal with them, but... Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel too bad. To be able to go to a 2-day without organising a hobby, yeah, I'm very lucky for my positioning. It was really good when I was playing 40k, because even though I was travelling to my events, being in the Midlands just means that you're within touching distance of most of the major events in the UK. And then sometimes you go a little bit further, like once a year I'd go to London, and even that's pretty reasonable, a couple of hours by train or car share. Put the paint on really thick to hide the mood lines. I can't do that because I'm going to be painting them with contrast. So that does the opposite. That reveals the mold lines. Also, that is very much how I used to paint back when I was, I don't know, when did I stop in the hobby? Up until about 17, I guess. This was before Duncan Rhodes, not was born, but before he was of internet fame. So I was very much a one thick coat lad. Now I'm a one contrast solves all problems lad. Do I think there's an impact from having such a tight scene in Nottingham? Lots of repeat players. Where the content's coming from. I think it's an interesting perspective. I know someone let me know, I think it was D6, gonna get the channel name wrong, I think it's D6 Wounds is the channel name. They were talking about the meta and how Nottingham is a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Not black hole, echo chamber. I need to get around to watching it. I do quite enjoy his stuff. But I think there's some degree of that, but not a huge amount. The reason I say that is, even though there's a lot of familiar faces, if we're just talking about the ones that win games, and I'm not saying that to throw shade in any way, shape, or form, just I don't think the repeated players who don't do particularly well have much of a shape on the meta. So if you look at the players who do well, there's obviously Richie, who has pretty much only played dwarves. But apart from that, I think everyone else has had at least some level of variety with their lists. And even Richie's played different types of dwarves. I mean, he's gone into a lot of events going, this is a bad list, but I'm going to check it. And now he's back on, I'm pretty sure he's back on Grand Army, because Grand Army is gooder for dwarves. You just get to actually have a shooting presence that matters. Ah, you wanker. I think that's a bit reductionist. I like Grand Army more than I like Royal Clans, despite the strength bonus. Callum says he's going to Google how far Nottingham to Stirling and Glasgow is to see if you're far worse off. Oh, yeah. When I was doing a lot of 40k events, I could be, realistically, Friday night, get a train, usually travel for an hour to an hour and a half, get an Airbnb, rock up at the event the next day, travel home on the Sunday, all very comfortably, and then back in work the day after. Because that's what you do. Can't be taking holidays every event if you go to an event every month. I thought I cleaned this little fucker up. Most people play what they want to paint and have fun with. Yeah, that's true. There are a couple of exceptions. You're one of them. When you were going to grace us back with your presence, James? I've only ever played with you, never against you. It'd be a fun experience. But give me plenty of warning. I'll write a good list instead of some level of shenanigans. Got to bring my A game. For anyone who's not aware, James is or current ex Team England 40k, so plays at a good level. Plays at an incredible level, actually, I should say. I subbed in on his team a few years ago for Battle Britain, which is like a practice international event near the start of the year, so teams can work out what they want to take to, the next WTC, the big international event. James and the other members of the team were so good that all I had to do was not lose them the event, and we had a good run. I didn't fuck up heavily, and we got the win. How far out am I? I am about a mile and a half from the city centre, but I'm on the right side of town for Rob's events, so it's really not far for me. There's also typically electric bikes just down the road from me, so if it all lines up perfectly, I could probably, 7 minutes to walk to a bike, 5 minutes to cycle down the massive hill. Jumble all my miniatures together. That's the only thing to avoid. It definitely shapes the meta, Callum. Like my interpretation of what's good, I should say. So we've got Jack Allen, who is very good. He's currently playing Skaven. He's going to be there this weekend, also playing Skaven. He messaged me earlier in the day saying, "Hey bud, you got warp lightning cannons and Jezzails." So he's obviously come up with some sort of madcap idea. But I fully believe that it'll be good, whatever it is, because he's very good. I've mentioned him before. That is Morpheus, chap who wrote the Empire list that everyone's playing. Squarebase pod. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Squarebase probably has a more varied perspective than I do, actually. Because as much as I keep trying to go to other events, Rob's events are, A, really good. I do like going to them. But also so local. It's very hard to justify going elsewhere. Now I've got a little bit of YouTube revenue coming in. What I'd love to do is save that up and go out to the event that Val will be running at some point next year. That's not hidden knowledge. I'm just assuming that he's going to do another local event soon, like the one he's got coming up in, is it October? October, November? Boris bike into town. Yes. Well, the thing is about riding a bike. What's really annoying about this set is I needed 24. So, I needed 2 boxes of these little fuckers. I don't think I've ever built models that I resented building before. This is a new experience for me. That feels like it might not be healthy. Time to book a therapist. It's these fucking rats! Yeah, Orsa's going to the October one. Yeah, no, I'm like I say, it's not hidden knowledge. It's just a case of, I mean, he's running online events. He's running an in-person event. I don't see any end in sight for Val's enthusiasm for Old World. At least I bloody hope not. He sent me a message saying, "Little birdie told me that you were coming to the event." Someone had just misunderstood when I said I was going to one of Rob's events in October. So, I think we were both disappointed there. It's like, oh fuck, I would have wanted to go. Oddly, international travel for Warhammer is a little bit of a commitment currently. After LGT line up with everything. Yeah, that's super fair. If you are looking at them, October 5th, that's the next one I'm at. No, hold on, that's the week after. So, oh, thank you, Ginger Steve. How many Ratmen need painting? Good to hear you hate Skaven as a Skaven player. Have you ever built flayed ones? I heard they're the worst models. So I have some really nice flayed ones. These are Necron models, for anyone who doesn't know. But I converted them out of the Nighthaunt, some Nighthaunt spooky skeleton boys. But because I did the texture paint scheme that's really popular. God, what's he called? The guy who runs the channel, literally called Guy. He did Sandstone Necrons, and I did my army in his scheme, feeling really original. Because this was back in 8th edition. And then 9th edition launch box had Necrons, and every fucker did the paint scheme. Which, you know, we'd all just seen on a video from the internet, so it's no more or less theirs as it is mine. But I did regret picking a scheme that everyone else had done. But yeah, so my flayed ones are not flayed ones, specifically because I heard how terrible they are. Okay. Woo! What we got? War Machine pewter models, the worst to assemble. I don't know why I'm phrasing it like this. I never played War Machine, so I never had that joy. I do remember some classic bits of... Ooh, back in frame. Some classic bits of metal, like the slan, the metal slan. I really like the model, but I just have a vivid memory of it. And it's unpainted, like half base coated Caliban green, or Dark Angels green, whatever the paint was called back 20 years ago. All of the bits falling apart, green stuff trying and failing to fix the inadequacies of my ability to glue. Never heard of pins at that age. Never heard of him. Nick Walsh says, am I going to be there on the 16th of November? Ooh, maybe. I am there for one of the November events. Let me just open up Eventbrite and I can tell you. Plastic metal hybrid models were an absolute nightmare to pin together. I don't remember ever making a plastic metal model. Thank you, Ginger Steve. Midwinter Minis, yeah. One of my favourite channels. I don't watch him a lot, but one of my favourite channels to just put on in the background because he's got such a great, sort of relaxing, calming voice. Just seems like an all-round, well-adjusted chap. But this is the internet, so anyone can be anyone. You'll all be shocked when the news about the bodies comes out. I'm not... That was a joke about me. I'm not claiming that Midwinter Minis kills people. How to start streamer drama 101. Accidentally accuse a much larger YouTuber of violent crimes. Hello, Creekhammer. Oh, shit, you won Jay's Necron Army. That's awesome. I love Jay. He was my second round opponent at the first first Goonhammer event I went to, and it still stands out as one of my favourite games of Warhammer. So Jay was playing Knights at the time. This might not shock you because he's got that incredibly painted army of Imperial Knights that he entered into every painting competition and won with every one of them. People got real salty about that. You know, never say anything to him, but people would be like, "Oh, he keeps entering the same army." Pretty sure there's no rules against that, and they are really nice models. But yeah, no, he's a lovely guy. He said to me, he's like, "Look, I want to play. I don't want to play with takebacks. You know, if you move something, you move something. Let's just play like a good game of Warhammer correctly. And if you communicate that to me before the game starts, I'm super happy to do that." And we had a fantastic game, and he was a great opponent. And the game came down to, because I was playing the Orc Buggies list. For those of you who don't know, it was loads of little vehicles with loads of big guns. And the game came down to whether I could have killed a big knight on turn 2, and it survived on like 1 wound or something. So the game swung out in my favour. But I can't be salty about it, because the turn before, the game came down to, did I win or lose, or, you know, was I going to be out of the game if I didn't kill a big knight that turn? So I killed one on round 1, just killed it, and then round 2 I didn't kill it. It just lived. So that felt very, you know, universe in balance type thing. And he's a really lovely chap. He won a paintbrush, I think it was that event, or maybe a different event. He just gave it to me because, I mean, you're going to give the professional painter a paintbrush. That seems a little bit over the top. Still got it, actually. I use the hell out of it. So thank you, Jay, for this artist opus 000 brush. Got a lot of good use out of that. Not on these models, I won't. This is going to be... I know Rob's calling it slap shop, but or slop is his new invention. This is just going to be slop. They'll look fine. I'm not going to rock up with something that is, you know, not acceptable. But they're not going to get the same level of care I try to put into the rest of my models. Let's have a look here. Jay's doing a Phantom Titan. You own that Knight Army as well, fucking hell. And the display board and weapon alternatives. Yeah, no, that is one way to get a commission painted army, I guess. You could just buy them, but also, this is way more fun. And I guess if you buy enough tickets, it's near enough guaranteed to be a win. That's very funny. How long have I been going? 30 minutes. Oh, that's not too bad. You know when you're just doing a little bit of hobby that you hate, hate is a strong word. You're doing a little bit of hobby that is dull and uninteresting, and it feels like forever's passing by. Well, that is how this feels. I'm going to get the bodies on. God, I got to do so many arms. I'm actually doing this while having a fully painted, more competitive horse. Ah, you see, I don't know if that's true. I don't have any mangler squigs. I do have, like, the generic Orcs and Goblins army, but I find it so dull. It's cheapening to get him to paint them. Yeah, no, that's reasonable. That works out. Rushing to paint my Dark Elves because the alternative is ogres with no Mournfangs. Oh, that is a sad state of affairs. Yeah, I mean, painting the night before an event is very par the course for me. It's not new. I have the most last minute I've ever been. It was I was at a Glasshammer event. I took a for fun. Was it Imperial Knights? I took a for fun Knight army. I think it must have been Chaos Knights back in 9th edition. But I took 2 big knights and I think it must have been 4 little ones. I was like, oh, this will be fine. Glasshammer's such a shark tank. I made the wrong choice. I should have just brought a good list and then got some actual good practice in. I was like, oh no, this will be a fun list to play. It wasn't fun because I got absolutely crushed. Yeah, but anyway, at that event, I did end up painting base rims for my armigers, war dogs, at the table. So, at event painting, that's the most last minute I've ever been. Technically done, but going for best painted. Good man. Hope that goes well. It was 1,500 points, wasn't it? This weekend. Woo! Living the double sorceress dream. Yeah, no, he's super lovely. One of my favourite things about LGT is just going and spending a good chunk of time with him, which I will have to make more of an effort to do this time round, assuming he's there, because I'm playing in the Old World event this time, and I assume he's still playing the 40k event. Felix, how is Skaven in Old World? They're a compelling price-wise. So, here's the exciting news for you. If you look at tournament data, which is not tournament data from other games, if you come from AOS or, 40k, you might look at tournament data and go, ah, yes, we've got 10,000 games played, tracked across all these events on BCP. What we have is a website that does it. And I think they've made their own event data live, but I've never checked the veracity of it. So according to them, Skaven are like a 27% win rate. I'm about a 70% win rate. If you want to play Skaven, you kind of have to lean into a magic-fueled Death Star of some sort. So the Death Star that I've gone with is Gutter Runners. So the way it works is you put a Demonology spellcaster in there, and use that spellcaster to give them +1 strength and AP. So they're strength 4, AP 1, which makes their weapons pretty good. And then you cast Steed of Shadows on them, which lets you march and shoot. So you can move 24 inches while flying, and also shoot with them. So, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a very sort of positioning intensive list. I don't want to keep calling it a skill intensive list because it sounds like I'm really up my own arse. It's definitely something that if you mess up, you can lose games very quickly, which is great. That's what I want in a list. What happens to the list if they restrict us to 6 levels of magic? So, I actually thought this was going to be terrible. Like, because I've been thinking about this for a while, because I don't know. I've got lists that I want to play that theoretically I might not be able to play if some of the rumoured rules coming in are true. So I was like, well, what do I go with, and how does this affect my Skaven? I think you just play the level 4 and have more points for more gutter runners. So maybe you make the Death Star bigger, and you don't worry so much about the stuff at home. Or you put another rattling gun in, but I'm not super jazzed about rattling gun without any support. That does worry me. He doesn't want to play Old World. Oh, his email still cancel the 13th. That's amazing. Where are these rumours? Oh, just, floating around the ether. The rumour is that there will be a cap on spellcasters and a cap on cost of characters. Whether that's true or not, who can say? I was hoping, because there has been a vague talk. Was that a Moldine? Holy shit, that's a big Moldine. Okay, I take it back. This Moldine's horrendous. Yeah, there's been vague rumours about rules coming for must be a good couple of months now. I was hoping they'd be in place for LGT, just on the basis of I don't like building for old rules. So when you think new rules are coming, it's difficult to be motivated to build around them. Less levels, less magic missiles, more gutter runners. I think maybe you put in. I think I'd put in the other magic item that gives you a magic missile. It's not the warp storm demon. I think it is. I don't think it's good, but it's another one. So maybe you take like a level 2. Whatchamacallem? Warlock engineer. It'd be a good justification to put Jezzail's back in the list as well. I think if I can only take one spellcaster, I'm more excited about Jezzail's than I am currently. I really kind of ragged on Jezzail's. I'm starting to think I might miss them from my list. Ed says there's someone with 14 Empire Wizards. I don't like this idea. Ed, that is a you problem. And you should perhaps seek therapy, and I don't mean retail therapy. You should maybe talk to a professional about the buying of new models, because I see messages from you very frequently saying, I got a great deal on these. To be fair, I would struggle to turn down some of the deals that you've posted up. I was really tempted to ask you to grab me one of those whatchamacallums, steam tanks, the metal steam tanks. 20 quid, what a great deal. The bottle is the best therapist. Oof, it's a dangerous talk. I don't really drink much. Without going into too much detail, I think my missus has an alcohol allergy or something along those lines, so she doesn't drink anymore. And I know that if I drink on my own, that is a very, very bad path for me to go down, because like anyone who spends all of their time playing Warhammer, I have a very addictive personality. So I always say, if I started off, I'd be on meth in 5 years. And that's mostly a joke, but I think it's only mostly. There's definitely some validity to that. Good evening, Existence. How are you doing? Good to see you here. Glad to see we've pried you away from the horrors of the warp towards the much, much safer old world, where nothing ever goes wrong. Apart from Ed's misfire dice. And I don't mean myself, I mean other Ed. Oh, so we've got there's a group chat for attendees of Rob's events. And in there a couple of days ago, I think it was a chap called Rob, who might even be the Rob who I saw commenting earlier, telling Ed Milton to paint more boar boys for the to do it for his subscribers, having mistaken, I think, that Ed for me. And I replied, yeah, Ed, do it for your subscribers. And I thought I was hilarious. Jack Cropper, I think, saw what I did, but I don't think anyone else noticed. You've just been out undercounting some Flamers and Furies. Hell yeah. Those are 2 units that I like very much. I've got a Demon's bat rep recorded. Well, sorry, recorded is the wrong word. I've played the game. I need to do the recording. That's what I mean to say. But before that, I've got a game into the new Wolves of the Sea against Ors, who was in chat earlier. So, a couple of bat reps in the purple line. I want to have a bat rep out on Sunday, but I think that might be unlikely to happen. Thoughts on the Plague Month Death? Try that again. Plague Monk Death Star. So Anubis, who is active on Discord, and I think, I haven't checked, so I'm just saying this, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I think he might be the most successful Skaven player in the world, because he's gone 4-1. I'd love to equal or spur that this weekend. But he plays the Plague Monk Death Star. I haven't really given it much thought, other than, turns out if you put a Demonology caster in Skaven units, they get pretty good. Like Storm Vermin do it as well. That was where I initially started out, was thinking about a Demonology Storm Vermin brick. But they're very expensive, and they're very squishy. Whereas Plague Runners, Plague Monks, are kind of expensive. And less squishy. Higher toughness worth save. Didn't even bring them this weekend. Yeah. Can't talk about retail therapy. You found your old Dogs of War army and then bought what I didn't have on eBay. 90 pikemen in 3 units and just about 30 long drunk slayers as a start. Hell yeah. That sounds amazing. And this is not a comment. I don't have any insider information on this, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Dogs of War coming back. They're such like a classic, iconic army, right? So makes sense to have them there. I really need to get this setup fixed. Fix is the wrong word. I need to improve this setup. I'm sure there's a good way to get a better camera here. This is not particularly amazing. Existence. I think I have hoarded maybe all of Britain's Warcry Furies. So there was a box set, not a box set. Was it a magazine? One of the magazines. You know how they do those. The publisher's Partworks. I can't remember the name of the company. The magazine that they do. But they'll do like 2 armies, so Stormcast and Nighthawks or whatever. But they'll also throw in some other random stuff. I'm pretty sure I got loads of Furies from that. Or I just really fancied them at a time they were cheap and picked up tons on eBay. It's one of those 2. Dogs of War, almost all special characters. That is a fair point, actually. Crazy for Dogs of War. Ed, you'd go crazy for... No, that's an unfair... I was going to say any old model. That doesn't seem true. You'd go crazy for good deals on old models. I've seen your collection. You're a prolific collector. You paint a hell of a lot as well. Like, I'm always impressed whenever you post a picture in the in one of the chats. I'm like, oh, just knocked out 5 characters today. Hell yeah. Good for you. I do most of my my painting like this. I need to do less of that and more of what you do. I keep saying that I need to finish it, but I've got like a 80% recorded stop motion time skip video, whatever the fuck you call them. There's a word for it and I've forgotten what that word is. But yeah, no, I've got a video painting up loads of Age of Sigmar Skaven. And I should really pull my finger out on that, because the further away from the launch box release, the less exciting that video is. Distance. Don't mind the buying, even tolerate the building, but painting is a real struggle for me. That's fair. I think there's an aspect to the hobby that people like more and less. When I was collecting back in day, when I were a lad, just a green youth, not in Yorkshire, I used to really like. I loved the buying bit. That was good. I really liked the building. I liked the converting. And then I also was not a fan of the painting at the time. So that was something that I never managed to get done. I never really painted any armies. In fact, I never had a painted army until my first 8th edition Warhammer 40,000 event. That got me to paint a full army. Not well, but it got me just doing it. And I put a lot more time and love into my next army. Time lapse. Thank you, Rob. In fact, Rob Nixon, that name rings a bell. Was it yourself who told Ed to paint more balls for the subscribers? I think it was. Coming to the River Battle event at TSN. I would like to, but I haven't booked it yet. I've got a ticket to the event that Lewis is running, the Saffron Slam event, which I think is reasonably close to that. So I need to not take the piss with the events I sign up for. My partner's super supportive and never gives me shit for signing up for events, so I've got to try and just stay, respectful and make sure we're spending time together as well. That's the balance that I'm going for. Don't always get it right. Back in 9th edition I did 6 events over 10 weeks. I don't really know what compelled me to do that. It was when the country was just coming out of lockdown. Monster Mash, Lizardmen, or Dark Elves for memes. Yes, Paintball Pork for the subs. Yeah, you told the other Ed to do that, and I think only 2 people noticed, one of them being me, but I thought I was hilarious anyway. I think out of all of the lists that you can play with orcs, I think the Nomadic War is my favourite. It's not the strongest, but it's the one I enjoy most. Ed's gonna go brats for Riverlands just to fly over the water. You're a bad person, Ed. That's not the spirit of the event. You should have a bad time like everyone else with that terrain. I think out of those 2, if you're going for the Riverlands, I feel like you've kind of got to go Lizardman, right? That would make sense to me. You're rocking up with the aquatic army. There's going to be an aquatic board. I've just said Ed's bad for ignoring terrain rolls, and then I've just advised you to do it. I'm a bad conscience, I think. I'm obviously the devil on your shoulder, not the angel. Little pigs are not terrible models given their age. I know, right? I was pleasantly surprised when I bought them and went, huh, these are actually nice. I think either the angle they were photographed from or the paint job that I'd seen on them. It might have even been like an old Games Workshop paint job that I was remembering them in, like back in White Dwarf 15 years ago or something like that. But it didn't do them any favours. So when I got the kit, same with the Wolf Riders actually, I was surprised at how nice the Wolf Riders were in comparison to what I expect them to be. The Wolf Riders are still a bit shit. Bretonia is a pathway to many abilities that some would consider to be unnatural. Well, it's not an army list the Jedi would tell you, that's for sure. Skinks aren't aquatic? Bullshit. I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just upset about it. In today's Close Order, we tell you how to game the fluffy event. Look, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, yes. New AOS Wolf Riders Boy event. Yeah, I am on the fence about a lot of AOS models, because a lot of them I don't think really fit in with the aesthetic that I have in my mind for fantasy. Nothing wrong with anyone else playing them, but, like, I don't know that I'd want to use them. Yeah. Those Wolf Riders do it for me. They're real good. They are real good. Oh, I'm at rage at that. They took so much from my sense. Oh, right, that's a response to the not being aquatic skinks. That's super reasonable. Lizardmen did get some weird stuff taken away from them. I am really looking forward to Old World 2.0. Really like the game. I'm just looking forward to there being like a 1.5 edition. Move through cover is better than aquatic. Oh, okay. I'll be honest, I couldn't even tell you what aquatic does, so I was faux outraged. And I've been brought some evidence. And I will immediately back down from my position. It's not the same, Steve. It's not the same. Weren't they supposed to be Hobgoblin Wolf Riders? Chaos Dwarves. Maybe. Next summer for Old World update, you've heard. Well, who knows? We could be in for a treat. I think I'd rather they didn't release it next summer. I think I'd rather they took a little bit longer on it. On the basis of, I think, the more time spent on the rule set, the better. I know they've got like the competitive, well, not competitive, the bones of a good game here. I'd like to see it as near as makes no difference perfect for second edition. That would be the dream. A lot of the those Warriors of Chaos. Like, so I was watching the Square-based show, like the reveal show, and I think Rob was a little sad that those Warriors were coming back. He was comparing them to the newer ones, if I remember correctly. And I was like, but those Warrior sculpts are classic. They're iconic. Again, definitely not Cope, because I have about 40 of them. Yeah, speaking of competitive lists, I've got loads of Chaos. Obviously, Warriors of Chaos are not particularly... Like, Chaos Warriors are not particularly competitive, but the other stuff that I have might be. Got some Knights. I've got a Dragon that I could put a Chaos Lord on. I've got some Sorcerers that I could chuck on a Chariot. There's a lot of stuff I could do to make a decent list. Not much in the way of Marauders, unfortunately, and that is the flavour of Chaos that I'm most excited about. God, there's so many arms. So many arms, so little time. 6th edition Warriors with a gold sign for a nice kit for a long time. A year once all the books are out with an FAQ to fix all issues in the Clash. Yeah. I think these are all reasonable takes. Congratulations. We have managed to have a reasonable converse on Warhammer the Old World. We'll get that on Facebook. I have had some mixed responses when I post my stuff on Facebook, I tell you that. Some people enjoy what I do. Some people are professional dickheads. But what are you gonna do? What you gonna do? How far are we in? Okay, we're an hour in, and I haven't finished the building. That's a bit of a... Rob's opinion on certain chaos models are wrong, and I'll tell that to his face if I go to one of his events. Justice for the Shaggoth. Yeah. That's the thing about enjoying a bit of physical media. It's very objective. Sometimes things are objectively bad, like these absolutely awful sculpts that I'm currently chopping away at. Covered in mold lines. The mold it's growing on my soul. It's a different sort of mold, but, you know, the simile still hits, right? Your stuff's decent, I'm a professional dickhead. That's really nice of you to say. That's one of those compliments that you can really appreciate, because when people, and it's weird to say that as someone who makes videos, because people will be like, "Oh, I really enjoyed this," and you're like, "Yeah, cool, thanks." And then sometimes someone will say something that's like nice, but not so nice that you have to like feign, like, oh, you know, a bit of self-depreciation. Sometimes someone's just like, "Yeah, I like that. It's all right. Thanks, buddy. I can take that." That's a nice compliment to have. Yeah, I did see Nick's dragons. They look incredible. Facebook isn't real. I wish. Those are for you? Oh, you lucky bastard. Well, I guess it's not luck because you commission them, but you forward-thinking bastard. You running some Warriors of Chaos then, Steve? It's a good time to be doing them. It was a good time. And you have to know how to play or read and to know where the oxygen's meant to go. I am 31, Callum, and I came up at a point where the playing video games especially meant that you were both subject to and the source of verbal abuse. And since those days, I've made conscious efforts to be a better person. So I try not to tell people that they're a waste of oxygen, even if I sometimes feel like it. But I've also worked, you know, customer-facing roles for the last 10 years of my life, so you just build up a tolerance for how stupid people can be, I think. Plastic Night Runners, yeah, the really awful sculpts. I've got loads of the really nice ones, the Blood Bowl models. Absolutely lovely. If anyone's getting into Skaven, I would fully recommend the Blood Bowl models. However, I need another 24. And I want them to be visually different because they're equipped with slings instead of with throwing weapons. Now, neither kit has a lot of slings, but this kit has some at least. And they are visually different, so I can very comfortably make them do that. Oh, hell yeah. Accidental IP fraud. I don't think it's IP fraud because it's for personal use, but that's very funny that you sent him a picture and it's just like, guess that's what I'm doing. This man have a nerve. Oh, hell yeah! So, does that mean that you've got 3 dragons? Or you're going to have 3 dragons? I am building the god-awful plastic Night Runners. So these models, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these came out with More Time, a game that I'm very excited to get into at some point, and I just haven't managed to do so. But at some point I'll play some More Time, do a More Time campaign. You have 3 because you ordered the Warpfire Dragon 2. 3 is a good number. I'm not sure 3 is actually the most competitive list, but god, it looks fun. I want to play it at least once, and then probably at least a second time, maybe a third time. It's the sort of list that I can sink a lot of games into, I think, because it's just push dumb monsters around the board, have fun, be quite competitive still, because Dragon's good, even if it's not as competitive as like a mixed arms list. Hard to fit in a list, but fun. Yeah, no, I was... so obviously I had the rules a little before time. I spent a lot of time going, what's the best way to write a list with 3 dragons in? Unfortunately, the Knight's Army of Renown is quite underwhelming, because I think the best way is just put knights in core and play full send. That's an ugly fucker. Galrock is not best for the points. Yeah, so where I like Gorok is I really like the Wolves of the Sea. And in the Wolves of the Sea, if you want a Dragon Lord and a level 4 caster, Galrock is how you do it. I don't think that's the good build. But it's an option. And I've played against Galrock and a Demon Prince. Now, my opinion on Demon Prince, stonks are going up on Demon Prince in my mind. I did play a Demon one quite recently. That one was fine but not exciting, and also I misplayed him deliberately. I took a charge into a dragon. I was like, this is a bad idea, but I want to see how it goes. So I'm not rating it on that, but also just the Warriors of Chaos ones. So good. Layered saves, theoretically T8, which, let's be clear, T8 is dumb, but it's funny. It's so funny. This arm is not... Oh, this arm's a war crime. Never mind. We're low on time. The arm will do. Lots of love for Mordheim. Eschengang, yeah, I would avoid Skaven for Mordheim, because I've heard that it's one of the best but also most oppressive ways to play Mordheim. So, to make sure that I continue to have friends to play with, I would avoid that. And also, I just wouldn't... I like going in with something that's, like, not underpowered, but a little under the curve. That's my favourite place to start off, I think. Because you get... you learn better. That's why I haven't used a dragon for the entirety of the edition so far. My first game was with a dragon. I went, this is too strong. And stopped playing with dragons. And now I'm at a point I'm like, I want to fucking crush some kids with dragons. Sounds like a fun time to me. Mordheim is bigger at my LGS than Old World. Wow! Okay, that's cool. Wolves of the Sea, Necromunda is... Yeah, I like the idea of Necromunda, but it doesn't grab me in the same way as Mordheim. Like, just the vibe of Mordheim is immaculate. 3 dragons. What have I done to my wrist? I have had mild RSI for years, and I think it came from playing Path of Exile. For you, those of you who don't know, it's a Diablo 2 spin-off game. There is a name for it. One of those games where you just like run around, kill stuff, endless dungeons, get loot, yada yada. Fantastic game when I played it. I don't think I'd enjoy it now. I think the game has changed so much that I wouldn't recognise it, to be honest. But yeah, it's a button masher, and I've got a Razer Naga, so spamming the buttons on the side of my mouse, I developed RSI, and I'm mostly okay. But then just sometimes I stress my wrist a little bit, so a little bit of pressure on there makes me feel like I'm not going to. I was going to say die. God, that's dramatic. Like I'm not going to hurt it any further. Skaven is fine without sling spam. Here's the thing. So if I'm self-moderating what I play, I have to do it when I choose the army. Because I'll go, right, I'm going to commit. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about Skaven. But I'm not going to play any slings. And then I'll play some games. I'm like, okay, so here's some issues. But if I just put slings in, those issues would go away. And you just I have that voice at the back of my head being like, just play the good option. So it's better for me if I want to be, not super competitive. Pick a faction that doesn't have anything that's inherently super broken about them, and then try and make them as broken as possible. That's where a lot of my joy in game like list building is. I like pushing lists to the extreme. And if you're doing that outside of just like only tournament play, only going to try and win like international play or something, you're best off doing it with a a less played or a weaker faction. Also, if the faction's super powerful, they get figured out pretty quickly. Like, people work out what the best build with them is and how to play against them. Whereas if you play something like Skaven, a lot of people are going to look at that and go, what the fuck are you doing? And that is a joy all unto itself. I'm really big fan of that. Right, let me just... it's not Eventbrite I'm looking for, it's Best Coast Pairings. I have forgotten exactly what's in my list, so let's just have a quick look. I'm fairly certain that almost everything is in there. Let's have a look. So I've got the two Graces, the Chieftain, Clan Rats, Giant... I did give them an Assassin. Yes, that's good. Are Skaven weapon teams inefficient for their cost? I go back and forth on this. So I think almost all of the weapons teams are bad. I don't think the Warp Fire Thrower is good, because it's too random. And, like, yes, I understand that random, funny, haha, Skaven bad. If you're wanting to play them for fun, don't let me stop you taking Warp Fire Throwers. But I think they don't have consistency. So, for my money, if I wanted to run weapons teams, because I have to run 2 units of the whatchamacallums, Clan Rats, because I have to run 2 units of Clan Rats anyway, those first 2 weapon teams are inherently cheaper because there's no opportunity cost, or there's a lower opportunity cost, I should say. The third weapons team you put in costs whatever the weapons team costs plus 20 Clan Rats, because you didn't have to take them. So I think 2 is pretty okay. Rattling guns are good. Fitting a third one in is hard to justify. Yeah, I did know that Jay's head of WTC, which is very cool. I wish him nothing but the best, because he's so nice, and he's also the perfect person for it. He doesn't take any bullshit. He knows his rules well, but he's also just really friendly. He's a really good cross-section. Like I said earlier, the game I had against him, one of my absolute all-time favourite games of 40k. I really enjoy spending time with that man. He's also a fucking visionary. So, you may have seen this guy, everyone else. Jay, Mohawk Minis, he's a commission painter, he's a YouTuber. He's now the head of WTC for 40k. Or is it just in general? And he takes a yoga mat to events. And he takes his shoes off. I assume he just either doesn't have smelly feet or deodorizes beforehand, because no one's ever complained about them. So I'm just preempting complaints there. But he stands on that yoga mat just for the game for 3 hours. And he says... he feels fantastic. He can be on his feet all day by standing on that mat. And I think that is fucking genius. He used to work for Gordon Ramsay. He is just the most interesting man in 40k, isn't he? He is. There are so many things about him that I didn't know. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the back end of the month. Rattling gun seems viable but very volatile. Yeah, so it's 157 points per unit of Clan Rats, the way I take them, which is 20. No upgrades other than a champion for the better leadership, musician, because you get that +1 to your rally, and you're going to be running away with that unit a lot. It's good in some ways, because it's points denial in a way. Because the Rattling gun's an upgrade, it's like Fanatics. You need to kill both the unit and the Rattling gun to get full points. If your opponent kills that unit, but you manage to wriggle that little, cavalry-sized base of Rattling gun away, you still save 75% of the points on that 157 point unit. And that actually adds up pretty quickly. Skaven list that was basically all ratlings. Yeah, I can believe that. Professional wrestler in the UK. People will believe these that it's true. Yeah, like I 100% believe it. He looks like he could be. He looks like he could do many jobs. Being a chef doesn't surprise me. He looks like he could be a bouncer. There was, I think, a comment up here on this. Let's just go back and have a look. Is that how GTs are ruling it? Well, that's how Square-based rule it. I assume that's just how it is, honestly. It's... Fanatic points are scored. Yeah, because it's an upgrade to the unit, the way that Rob's been ruling it is that you have to kill both to get points. I don't want to say convincingly yay or nay, but every time I've played with Fanatics or weapons teams, that's how it has been ruled. And I've played against Fanatics a lot more than I've played them, so it's not even in my favour. But that's fine, it makes sense. And with Fanatics it doesn't feel like too much of an issue, because I don't think, when I've played Goblins, I don't think I've ever finished a game with a Goblin on the table alive, a Fanatic on the table alive, anyway. 8:15. Woo! So probably going to get these built and sprayed for 9 o'clock. That's not... It's not an exciting time to be finished building. And you've got to paint them all. Hey, that's okay. Yeah, Fanatics almost never trigger this because they're liable to explode on their own. We had the same thought. I assume that you typed that before I finished saying mine, but yeah, we agree, you and I, we agree. Oh no. Which part of this fuck is coming off? Oh, the body. Okay. Is it a lot for an event this weekend? Don't want to call it. So I've got 24 models to build and paint this evening. Existence. And I have been vocal about my distaste, we'll say, for the Hellpit Abomination. I think it is abysmal. I think it is such a trap for Skaven players, and I think it is part of the reason why Skaven players are doing so poorly, because you know that behemoths are good, and then you look at your behemoth and you're like, oh well, this seems okay, without comparing it to the ones that everyone else is playing. And your T5 with, like, I think it might have a 5-up regen, but it's not good. Like, compare it to a giant spawn and just go, God, that giant spawn is so much better. For its cost, it needs to be tougher. I fully agree. It needs to be... Just give it the stats of a giant spawn. Just make the Hellpit a giant spawn. I think it was you, Lol, who left a comment saying that you could run wolves, like you could make a Wolves of the Sea list out of Skaven models, and that has got me really thinking. Like that's an enticing proposition. Oh, this one's lost his fucking body as well. What's wrong with you? You're getting the super glue. Ah. For those of you at home, don't try and open super glue with teeth. There we go, I've done my bit of good citizenry. Sent you a bunch of these monkey. I appreciate the offer. Here's the thing, I don't want them. I need them, I'm building them, I still don't want them. God, I hate them. Bloody monkeys. Stupid monkey! That Simpsons quote just lives in my head rent-free. Surprisingly frequently. Don't think it was you. Well, I've given you the credit on another video already, so That's fine. Someone just be sad in the comments. Hopefully they correct me. Don't succumb to proxy madness. Yeah, like, I understand what you're saying, but also I'm probably going to stop playing Skaven sooner rather than later, not because I'm sick of them, but because I like the freshness of playing a new army. Ooh. I enjoy playing a new army, I enjoy the hobby aspect of it, it's better content for the channel. There's a lot of reasons for me to go with something fresh. Which might be another legacy army, let's be clear. I do have 2 dragons back there somewhere that have Dark Elves riding them, they just haven't got anything else done so far. Started painting one and I was super underwhelmed by, you know, the paint scheme I started with, so might need to strip it and start again. Mangler and Gigaspawn are just criminally undercosted, yeah, I agree. The Nurgle spawn is so good. I've seen quite a few people say that the Khorne one is where they'd go, and I think that's very interesting, because I couldn't disagree more. Dark Elf content in the pipeline, maybe. I don't want to make any commitments on that, because basically, I'm getting this event over and done with. I'm doing this event this weekend. I'm actually like super not in the event mood, which is weird. I'll have a good time, don't get me wrong. I always enjoy going to events. But just like the lead up to it, normally I've done more prep and been thinking about it more, whereas I'm just kind of playing the same list, which is a little stale for me. So, yeah, this is probably going to be my last Skaven event for a little while, because then I need to decide what I'm taking to LGT, build that, then probably take it to the event I'm going to at Rob's Arena the weekend after that, just on the basis of I can't see myself doing 2 armies. I could give, depending on how I enjoy my LGT army, I could always give the pig army another run out. I do like me some nomadic horde, so that's an option. God damn you! There's way more. Yeah, that's weird. There's way more left arms than right arms by the looks of things. More Dark Elf content, yes. Not fussed. Yeah, I think Dark Elves are very interesting. I know Richie has some Dark Elves in the pipeline as well, so he's fucking popping off. I don't think I contributed much to his success. Obviously, shared his channel, but the context I'm saying this in, when I looked at the channel, when I shared his video on Discord, his like I'm launching a new channel video, he had about 450, 470 subs, something in that sort of realm. And then I looked back the next day, and I was like, oh, I wonder how many views he's got. Okay, cool, he's got loads of views. Wait a second, he's got like 800 subs! And then he's put his first proper video out, and he's at like 1.1k, something like that. I said to him, you're probably going to overtake me, which he was like, oh, no way, bro. And I think he probably will overtake me pretty quickly, which is very cool. It's always a pleasure to work with Richie, so having it so that he's got his own channel and we can work together on both channels, benefit him as well, even better for me. I love that. Oh, we're still on. Yeah, I forgot we were talking about Spawn. Khorne feels like you're teching for damage. Yeah, I agree. So the battle report that's going up later this week or early next week, or middle of next week, at some point within the next week, that my opponent was playing 2 Khorne spawns, and he is a big proponent of them. And I think if you're playing against armies that can't shoot well, they're probably terrifying. But I killed both of them and did half of Golrok's wounds in 1 salvo. So I was like, yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. I did bring a lot of gutter runners to a monstrous a behemoth fight. So Slanesh is bonkers. I like Slanesh, but also I just want that regen. I really like that. Tzeentch doesn't exist, yeah. Seems like a genuine nice guy. I'm not sure who you're talking about, that rat bastard, but I agree. Cause a bit meh. Yeah, I Dark Riders are really good. I've said this a few times. My first game was, I feel like it was against some chap who I've talked to again since, and I can't remember his name. Anyway, some bloke online I just played, and he had loads of Dark Riders, just ran rings around me. Shot the shit out of me. Sad times. Dr. JPEG. It was good though. I need those sorts of games, because I come in with all these half-formed ideas, get smashed and go, oh shit, yeah, there's a metagame that I've got to play around. So it's good to reset the... You need an army you can champion. Yeah, I agree, existence. Repeater crossbows need a level of AP. Yeah, Ginger Steve, you can take two giant spawn, if that's what you were querying. We're getting there. We're making real headway. And I think that's neat. Three, 6, 10. Cool. I am fully sick of these models already. I haven't even painted them. For Dark Red, I just think you can, but am I mad? Oh, I see. Oh, thank you, that rat bastard. Fill in the blanks. Something men equal best men. Something empire equals best empire. Now, I'm going to say rat men equals best men. And under empire equals best empire. I hope that is the clip you were looking for. Let me know if you want that again for a ringtone. Do people still do that? Download, like, songs and stuff for the ringtones? I've had my phone on vibrate for years. Again, working customer-facing roles, you don't want your phone going off in your pocket when you're serving someone. 2 fall back and flee, 2 scouting. So you can take 1 per 2,000 points for each. Yes, with the way those are worded, and I've never actually seen this clarified, but I think the general consensus on those is that where it says you can take 1 per 1,000 of each, I think you can just do, like, stack both of them. And I do like the fallback and scout, because if you get into position, you can just do a whole lot of shots without having to move on turn 1. I think I'm onto something. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the support. Chips away at those paint costs that I have set myself up for. I've incurred. I've got my first YouTube paycheck coming at the end of the month, which is really nice. Still massively in the hole. But I think give it like 2 or 3 months just on sort of ad revenue and members alone, and I will be out of that hole and into the green, which is exciting. I am going to have to file my own taxes, which is, a British man, is not something that I thought I was ever going to be doing. My uncles, both my uncles, are self-employed, and seeing how that is for them, where you're either working all of the time and stressed because you're working too much, or you don't have enough work, so you're stressed because you don't have enough work. I was like, nah, couldn't be me. Get me some gainful employment. Don't want to do that self-employed malarkey. And now here I am, going like, yeah, I guess I'm going to give this a proper go. The self-assessment fund, yeah. What I'll probably do is I will pay someone the first year, just to make sure I'm doing it right. And the amount that I'm going to be filing is not very much, but if you have income of over £1,000 over the financial year, you have to file, and I think that I might hit that by, April. We'll see. but I will pay someone to do it correctly for me the first time, which means that I'll probably end up spending more on fucking filing my taxes than I keep. But it'll be good for me to know what to do in the future. So that's important. Tax doesn't have to be taxing. Hey, very good. Very good. It is funny, because we're going to get some Americans or similar chip in and be like, what do you mean you don't normally have to do your own tax? Yeah. Normally my job just takes the money out of my paycheck before they give it to me, which I much prefer. There's no risk of accidentally spending money I don't have. That's very generous, Steve. I will read this correctly. Right. Perfect. I think I've digested that one. So, rat men are so useless in Old World that I'm only taking them so when I go 2-3, I can say to my man crush Richie, it was because of the army, not my personal skill level. Harsh. But, you know, I think there is a little aspect of that with playing the underutilized armies. It's not like a deliberate choice, but there's always that little safety blanket that you're like, oh, God. Well, because I obviously went 3-2 with my first event at Skaven. First proper event. I went 3-1-1 when I was... I played doubles with Tom. But, yeah, 3-1. 3-2, even. That's the... that's the sort of floor that I accept when I go to a GT. With when I'm playing more competitively. In the Old World, I don't know, a little bit more can happen. I'll be sad if I get less than 3-2 at an Old World event now, but, you know, there is scope for it. But playing a less played faction, you definitely have more wriggle room to be like, yeah, no, I did all right. It'll be worth it when John McArdle finds you. Super chats for bullying YouTubers. Oh, God damn it. That's, I can't even argue with that. You've got me over a barrel there, because you're, on the one hand, money. And here's the thing. I do enjoy buying models. Thank you, everyone, by the way, who has used my Element Games referral link. I've had quite a few people order through there, which I really appreciate, because it doesn't actually get anything for the people who do that. It only benefits me and I guess Element Games if anyone who wasn't going to order through them ordered. So yeah, that's really nice of people who have done that. Do you need a bit more spice in Special and Rare? I agree. I am not wowed by anything that they have in Special and Rare, really. Less trash monsters. Play underpowered armies, then bail when they get the new book and become powerful. That's true. That's true. A lot of that's the attitude as well that comes with it. So, you know, you Tau players. I've had friends who played Tau when Tau were like objectively bad, and then the new book came out and they're good, and they're, you know, the sort of person who takes 6 months to paint a full army. So they're like, hey, I've just finished painting a Riptide. I want to play with it. And then someone at which Tide, now you've got new rules. Just don't be a dickhead. The best, if you think someone is on the churn and they only play armies that are good, you know what the best thing you can do is? Not give them shit for it. Beat them. Just be better. Like, I don't think anyone who buys models is going to be offended if you say, oh, you're only buying that to be good. Or not, like, truly offended. But if you beat them, that you can shake them to their very core. Rat Bastard says he had 6k in the loft when the game released, so he'd have to bankrupt himself for a new army. That's super reasonable. That is a great reason to play in a faction. John finds the channel is crazy. I don't really have any response for that. I don't want to just beg for money. That seems that's too dance monkey dance. But Pip says Dark Eldar just need a bit more spice and Special and Rare, in my opinion. And he also says Dark Eldar need a bit more spice and special and rare, in my opinion. I agree with you. YouTuber comments, or the YouTuber's voice for bullying people. That's the on a train going in and out of signal. Yeah. How's your travel going? It's not too bad getting from London, as long as you don't have to get into London. I guess that's where the issue can come in. It's just a direct train, 1 or 2 stops, Market Harborough, Kettering, that sort of jobby. My workplace has really bad signal, so if you ever see me double or triple post on Discord, that is why. Because I've tried to send a message and just clicked it again and again. For a certain full-time steamer, joking refers to himself as an internet beggar. You thought I wouldn't mock you for your typos there. You thought wrong! Yeah. So, Steve, just to clarify, you don't actually have to give me money to mock me, because Existence has been doing it for months, back when I was on the 40k podcast. Hello, gents and Ed was the classic. Always appreciated those comments. I felt very seen. I liked that. Anyone have a link to the Squarebase GT rules pack? I think multiple people in this chat will do. Phone autocorrect. You're not getting away with it that easily. I'm here for you. Got my sights on you. There might be someone in chat who has one. If not, I'm not going to pull it up now because my phone is up here. And if I had to pay to mock it up, broke. Yeah, no, you can, within reason, do it for free. Yeah, if nobody posts it, I will whack it on Discord at some point in the future. But it might not be for a while because obviously I've got my army to paint and I've got my phone up there and all that. You know, whatever other list of excuses I can come up with. No, Ed, it was King Ed, as in the potato. I'd like to give some money for what I watch. It doesn't exist without someone giving back. I really appreciate that. No, it's very, very kind of you. It has been very humbling, honestly, to have people support me. When I put it live, I guess it was about 45 days ago, a month and a half ago. I was hoping to make back my monthly costs. That was the goal, and I'm a bit above that, which is very cool. I drive, but normally do events when my partner is doing folk music things and it's her car. That is, yeah, reasonable. My missus is also big into folk music. We sometimes entertain ourselves by playing 30 seconds of a random song from each other's Spotify. And the game is you've got to identify the name of the song and the artist within that 30 seconds. You get a point for each. I'm not saying this like the fucking dickhead on, what was it, LinkedIn. Yeah, have you ever heard of Bottle Nights? It's where me and my girlfriend put our phone down and we just talk with a bottle of wine. I bring it up because of the folk music connection, but she has so many folk music songs on there and knows, like, usually gets them 50% right, which is wild to me. Because I will play what sounds to me like a very generic sounding Irish song, like folk Irish or Indian or something. You'll be like, oh, it's this, group. Like, fucking hell. Hello, Archie. How are you doing? I am building some really shitty-looking Skaven. Not that I'm doing a bad job, that the models are shit. Arch is one of the OGs. Of the original men's. We played many a video game together. I haven't seen you around for CS for a long time. Do you still ever play? I haven't tried CS2 yet. But it's basically just CS. So, like, there are some differences, but if you're not playing much, you're just like, oh yeah, it's just CS. Attic Hammer. I'm kind of jonesing for hobby projects. That's, yeah, you should set up a second army. That's what you should go for, Pip. Your missus is a classically trained opera singer. You're just losing in that game. You're lucky you get to live in the basement. That's amazing. Not the, you know, living in the basement bit. Just the opera singer. That sounds great. A stallion. Which will it be? Too many choices. Oh, thank you, James. Looking to start Old World and tour... First by dwarves and how to start learning the rules? Yeah, absolutely. So a good way to start learning the rules, and this is going to sound really stupid, is do you have a local community of players? So I'd recommend trying to get like a rough grasp of the rules. But if you've got like a local game shop that does old world games, you might well be able to find someone who, you know, is very happy to play an intro game with you. Especially if you've got some models yourself, or it's a little harder to get into if, you know, you have to request some models. If not, you know, something like Warhol, the online platform's really good for getting games in. There are some communities of people who play those. Any advice for first buys of dwarves? So I did a video called what was it called? You bought the Dwarf Battalion, what comes next? I think that the Dwarf Battalion's a pretty good starting point for dwarves. I don't think all of them are amazing, but I think that's good. But things that are good in dwarves, Thane with a gun, that's just a good model. A BSB on shield bearers, that's really good. Some unit for them to go into, you know, warriors, longbeards, ironbreakers, hammerers, you can kind of mix and match depending on how you want to build. If you aren't sure, go with warriors to start off with, because they're cheap and you can put more stuff in your list and then you can sort of play around with it. And then in rare, like, I really like a couple of grudge throwers because they give you some ranged pressure, and I also like iron drakes as well. I play a lot against Richie, who's very good. It's like a castle up play style, but you've got to make it so your opponent has to come towards you a little bit. That's definitely where I'd start. When you hear us sing in the shower in Italian and sound sad, you know you did something very, very wrong. That's probably a great sign for your relationship. Because, and I hate the stereotyping that happens. They're like, oh, all men are, you know, can't tell when they're fucked up. But sometimes in a relationship, male or female, your partner might be sad, and you might not realize it, or vice versa. So if you've got the early warning sign of you hear the singing, you can at least be introspective, or buy them ice cream, or whatever their, you know, vice of choice is. Cheeky bit of heroin. Oh, I'm on the internet. I do not endorse or condone use of illegal drugs. There you go. I think I got away with that. It's one of those jokes that you make for years, and then you're like, oh, hold on, this is irresponsible. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Didn't realise mold removing was going to make this ASMR stream. Oh, is this ASMR? Oh, God. ASMR makes me so uncomfortable. That's really funny. I did think maybe there's a niche in the market where I just read the rulebook out in an ASMR fashion. And that would be the sort of like slow burn video that could do very well if it got found by the right set of... I don't want to call them weirdos, just because I don't enjoy it and it makes me uncomfortable. It's fine for other people. But, God, I don't understand it. Old World is easier to learn with models and people who played fantasy. I agree, yeah. Like, it's a very tactile game. Just having stuff in front of you does, I feel, make it a lot easier to play. Couple of arms. Do drugs in Minecraft? Oh, God. What a classic meme. I'm going to kill you. In Minecraft. In a video game. On the internet. Introspective, or 2 bottles of white wine and the Marks and Spencer. Yeah, there we go. 2 bottles of white wine and a bouquet of flowers. That sounds like a good start to an apology. And or let's make up without addressing whatever I've done wrong. Whatever works in the moment. Channel nuked in 3D. Yeah. Even locate ASMR. Yeah, like ASMR, for some people, it scratches that bit in their brain and they're very, like, oh yeah, this is great for me. It does the opposite. But I'm not diagnosed, so I'm not going to claim that I have this. But I think I might have misophonia, which is where certain sounds make you like viscerally angry. Chewing makes me want to it makes me very upset. It's something I struggle with. Just reading the rule book would be handy. So I agree, it's a good start, and you can definitely find the rules online for free if you know where to look. It's not even particularly difficult to do so. I will say a lot of people don't learn super well through reading, and the way that the rules are laid out, very, like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. The formatting in this book is very poor. Am I trying to get these done for the weekend? You mind if you are? No, I'm getting these done for this weekend. It's going to be 2 hours of building, and I did not think it was going to take me this long to build them. So I'm a little concerned about that fact. I'll level with you. I don't think the streaming has slowed me down much, though. It's been alright. I've been really focused on trying to get more fun collaborations going for the channel. That I think I've not done as much solo content as I'd like to do recently. So I need to try and churn's the wrong word, but I need to try and get some more of that out. I'm in a weird spot where I feel like only doing 3 videos a week kind of limits the videos I'm putting out. But then doing that 4th video makes me a little stressed, and it makes scheduling my life a little difficult. So it's an odd middle ground. Maybe I do 4 videos some weeks and 3 the other ones. Maybe I get better at forward scheduling things. These are all options. Ah, you bastard man. What have I done that for? Talk about you releasing a video of you reading the rulebook for that reason. Very dyslexic. Okay. Yeah, maybe that is something I should do. Yeah, maybe that is something I should do. I'd have to think about how to do it, because would I just like straight read it, or would I like explain things? What would be the best way to go? It could definitely go on Spotify. I don't get any money from Spotify, so actually that probably doesn't do what I was thinking it was going to. There we go, there's the last arm I need. This camera view is horrendously blurry. I apologise for that. I mean, I'm not doing anything particularly interesting. It is more just so you've got some scale of what I'm doing. But yeah, it's pretty grim. Woo! Just to make you look at the screen for 30 seconds to slow you down. Oh no. This is like some supervillains. I feel like money as a supervillain power is not an uncommon one, but I'm seeing it in the flesh now, and it's personally affecting me. Thank you very much. James says, I learned 40k during for COVID, watching lots of battle reports, so I had a good grasp of the rules by the time lockdown lifted. Yeah, so that is one way to do it with an easier game. yeah, Old World's a bit more convoluted, and people make, especially at the start of the edition, people made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I still make some, and you guys correct me in the comments, which I'm, happy about. Otherwise, I'd be getting rules wrong. I often get rules wrong to my detriment, which is the better way to do things. It's always a bit rough if you've been getting rules wrong to your benefit, like how I thought Doom Divers worked for the first 6 games I played with them. Thought you reduce your ballistic skill and then you scattered backwards, or you got to adjust D3 for the goblin. That is not the rule. That is not the rule at all. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Oh, I've got to spray these fuckers now, and that's effort. That is effort. I think this might be a good time to call it. So, I mean, obviously I've got a background on, but I'm super pinned in my streaming spot, and it's not, like, it's a massive faff to get in and out, basically, so this seems like a good time to end it there. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. I've really enjoyed these last couple of hours, actually. It's been nice, it's been chill. It's nice to have just a bit of a chat with you guys, so they're probably something I should do more frequently, because they're just fun. Alright, well, I'm gonna head off. Thank you all, and I'm sure there'll be some sort of update next week about how I did and whether I got them painted. I will get them painted. Maybe I'll do a short tomorrow so you can all see the state they're in.